Hello, my little honeybees. This isn't usually the style of video that I would be making, but yeah. Also, please excuse my voice, I am very sick at the moment. I want to talk about the Fast-Pace Health Clinic. In my opinion, they themselves are a very weird company in the way that they portray themselves online and other factors. The Fast-Pace Clinic itself promotes itself for being fast, even though it usually takes about 1 to 2 hours for you to actually get out of the building after you go in. I mainly want to talk about the reviews right now. There are many positive reviews that flood the review part of the website, usually only with compliments about the cleanliness of the building, the attitude of the staff, the way the building is structured, etc. But when you scroll down enough, you will end up seeing the not so great reviews about the place. These bad reviews are replied with by an AI robot instead of an actual human being that can help somebody. The reason that I say that the replies are AI is because they all have the exact same format, at least copy and pasted differently, with only the changed parts being the names of the reviews being replied to. However, these bad reviews do actually go into the actual problems with the Fast-Paced Health Clinic. One review states, "Doctor misdiagnosed my daughter. Prescriptions were never called in, and if you call to ask questions, you receive a bad attitude. Horrible experience, never again." This other review stated, "Good experience with clean facility. The only thing that was odd was how the PA tried to argue with me about how he thought my condition was not environmentally related. Strange, but otherwise a good visit. I have never had a provider try to argue with me about my condition. I believe I know my body better than this guy." This next one says, "I stabbed my finger with a huge staple nail. The receptionist was so helpful. She even logged me on the computer since I couldn't. The doctor was great, very kind, and did a great job. I highly recommend this place. The second time there, I had the shingles. They only gave me a note for 2 days off, where usually you have to be 7 to 10 days. I was in a lot of pain. 2 days is ridiculous." This next review states, "Provider was very nice, offered to help, told me to call. I called and was placed on hold twice, left on hold for over 48 minutes both times. No one returned the call. Disappointed, as I usually highly recommend them." These are the robotic AI replies to these bad reviews. Feel free to give them a read if you want to. You can slow down the video if you need to. You can pause the video and read them. I really don't care. Here was why I personally do not like them. I decided to go to this so-called clinic whenever I had a sickness, which was today. I was diagnosed the same day with the rhinovirus, which is a very contagious virus that is responsible mostly for the common cold. I was only sent back to school after 1 day, that 1 day being after today, which is actually crazy. With the rhinovirus being such a contagious virus, they are putting the lives of my peers at risk. I would also like to mention that I have undiagnosed POTS, which makes it very hard for me to get around the day and etc. I'm currently looking for a service dog to be trained for the mobility issues that I need. Anyways, my blood pressure was still super low for a human being, able-bodied human being that is. My blood pressure, whenever she took it, the nurse, was 111 over 84. Now for anybody, a blood pressure of 111 over 84 is certainly something to tell a parent or guardian or your patient about, as 111 over 84 is quite low for an able-bodied human being or a disabled person. And usually whenever it is low at a doctor's office, which is the same doctor's office that I visited today, they would tell my mom about it or somebody else. They would at least say it out loud and say, "Oh, this is very low." However, the nurse working on me actually did not state anything about my blood pressure. However, whenever my brother's blood pressure was very high, she stated that like it was an extreme emergency situation. Me and my brother are quite the opposite in almost everything. He wants to like ride vehicles and stuff. I am more interested in animals and stuff and military. He's a side hustler who usually makes about $1,000 per cell. Meanwhile, I am just kind of living out life, choosing animation and video paths rather than actual like that. And a second option would be manual work and stuff like that. What I'm trying to get at is my blood pressure will usually barely, if ever, be higher than it should be. and his blood pressure would never be lower than it should be. Just a small detail that I think would really be important for the story. Anyways, the doctor that came in told me that my cherry red throat was not red at all, and that me and my brother both looked fine even though we both had the rhinovirus. He was showing early on symptoms and I was showing the later on symptoms. He said that I couldn't be kept out of school simply because I had a virus, a contagious virus. He then turned around and lectured my parental figure, who was there that day, for taking us into the doctors rather than taking us to school whenever we had a contagious virus and possibly strep throat. This is the same doctor who had previously, about 2 days before this, had tested me and my brother for strep throat and COVID. He also said that he would call us back and get back to us about what we had the following day, which he did not. We were only told our test results whenever we came back in person, not over the phone like he said he would. He completely ignored us for almost 2 days straight after that. This doctor is obviously not that good at keeping promises, so not that good at seemingly making decisions. He then started to talk about whenever he went to school and how it was back then and how they drank out of water hoses and such and such. He was trying to, obviously, get us to stop going out of school for things like literal viruses. As I think I stated before, with people who have a smaller immune system, a weaker immune system, the common cold can, in fact, lead to death. And, of course, it's obviously an already bad enough idea to send an already sick child with a very contagious virus back to school the day after diagnosis. Don't know what that was there. Anyways, my lovelies, I hope you enjoyed the video today. This took me quite a while to make the script for. I highly would not recommend the fast-paced clinic for anything at all, especially if your problem is an emergency situation, because they just will not take you in as quick as they should. Instead, go to the ER at your local hospital. And yeah, that's it for today. Goodbye, my lovelies. If you're wondering why I chose this background, I just really love the game Peridot. If anybody can relate to me, please comment down below. I would love to see you guys. Also, I'm gonna crash out if this video gets made for children because it's a kind of kids game as the background. I will forever be looking for this dot again. I lost my chance to make a dot with it because I rescued it, and then it was like 7 hours before that, and then I went to this doctor's, and then I finally got the Peridot that I needed and the sun drops that I needed, but no, it was too late. At least I have 3 new baby dots anyways. Yeah. Alright, goodbye, my lovelies.